It's that CSZ game. They said pull up, so I came. You better put some respect on their name. Yeah, 55, what's goody? Kill the vibe, how could he? Big Cardinal on the hoodie. Let me break it down for you fully. This ain't your average broadcast. This ain't just no podcast. The mother shows spread fake news. We just call them broadcast. West, Joey, Sam, Shawn, Dalton. And you know that boy Higgy. He said he don't want no small fries. Tell them they better make them biggie. Yeah, you already know what we be on. We got the crown, we hold the throne. We throw the mails and you take them home. When they ring the bells, you know that it's home. The bar set, we setting the tone. If we set it, then set it in stone. Sit in the streets, set up your phone. You in the Cardinal sports zone.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, coming to you live from the Collision Course Crew Studios. I'm your host, Jeremy Wallman. Every time I hear that intro music, I need to make that like a playable file for my iPod so I can just bump it in the car over and over. No disrespect to Mr. Ken Harbison, who does all the music for the hottest shows in the area. Our song's the best one in the city. I mean, it is what it is. You argue with me, you'll probably lose that battle. It is what it is. We're here tonight with our special guest host. I'm not going to even call him a special guest because this dude has done this for a living. He's been on the show multiple times, almost more times than Sam has been on in the last year. He's been on. He is the incomparable. I say this all the time. Number 2 in your program, but number 1 in your heart is the incomparable Preston Brown. Preston, what's good, my man?
What's up? I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Doing good. Alongside with us, as you can see next to me, is say something nice today about him, Jeremy. He wore a clean shirt today. Shawn Barber. Shawn. Next to him, it's our guy. He is our football beat writer and lead Jefferson County Public School bus driving beat down patroller, Sam Basin. Sam, what's good?
What up?
I had to give you an extended. And man, I feel like this guy's the guest tonight because I ain't seen him in a hot minute. He's our red chipper. He's the pool guy, I guess, if you will. It's our man Dalton Pence. Dalton, what's good, buddy?
What's going on, fellas?
Are we gonna get like an upbeat Dalton, or are we still like just got back out of town from business?
Depends on the questions you ask me, brother.
All right, fair enough. But it's me, Shawn, Sam, Dalton, and Preston tonight, and we're happy to be here with you. Don't forget the chat line is open. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, however, send us your questions. Check on the graphic below Preston right now how you can donate to the podcast monetarily and support us. Underneath Dalton's, where you can find us on all the social medias, the X, I'm going to call it Twitter. I'm never going to call it X other than that. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, it's all there. Follow us, like and subscribe. Working on, we're trying to, look, the others haven't seen it. Preston's seen it, Shawn's seen it, but we got the updated mixer. Then I went out and got us a new wireless microphone today that looks official. It's pretty nice. You know, we want to do it real big. So we're trying to put some money into this thing. We're trying to do it right, do it big. So we appreciate y'all support all the time. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, hit like, smash that thumbs up. We appreciate it. Shawn, the first thing we're going to get, and I want to say first, what's up to Denise? Hello, Steve. What's up, Dwight? And then on the chat line, Cashmere, what's up, family? That guy Mason says hello. Quentin says L's up, go Cards 4-0, baby. Wes says CSZ crew, what's up? And that guy Mason says RIP JC. He hates Jefferson County Public Schools. I know who that guy is. He's going to be negative, so it is what it is. But look, the first of the news, let's go ahead and get to it. This is our last Thursday show, and I don't want anybody to get sad. It's not the end of the show. We have felt like with other business opportunities that I have been afforded and just our schedules, we are moving the show from Thursday nights to Friday nights. I felt personally Thursday was too far away from the game most weeks, obviously not this week. And it's like it's better if you listen, if we do it live and then the next day it's game day, or we do it live and the next day you listen to us, because we still have about 500. Like we get about 5,000 viewers per stream, but we're still in the hundreds of thousands for listeners. So we still have a lot more listeners than we do viewers. So we just appreciate everybody that's supporting the show. But we felt like Friday night at 7 p.m. would be the perfect time. Lead you right into prime time with whatever you watch at home. It is what it is. I'm a wrestling fan. Y'all know that. Preston, are you a wrestling fan, or did you just go because you're related to Mark Henry, right?
Yeah, through marriage. Yeah,
through marriage. So did you enjoy? Do you enjoy? I'm just gonna break off of the script. Like, it is what it is. Y'all know I'm a wrestling head, so it is what it is. Do you enjoy wrestling, or is it just something you watch like from time to time?
Yeah, I don't like it at all. But the reason I don't like it, because my cousins who lived up in Columbus, he loved The Rock, in the 90s growing up. And every time I went up to visit, I'm getting in the headlock to get all the new moves he learned. He's trying them out on me. So I never wanted anything to do with wrestling. When I thought of wrestling, I had flashbacks to seeing the ceiling, but my foot at the same time.
Well, we're going to switch that back. I'd much rather not see Shawn than not see Preston. Well, the only reason I bring that up, and I'm going to get this out of the way early too, because I've got this other, where's it at? Share the source. So again, I'm a wrestling head. I buy all the new championships when they come out. I collect them like I do baseball, football, basketball cards. Where's it at? Share the screen. Go to Facebook, bring that up. So I got, if you all know what the side plates are on wrestling, it's like there's the main belt, and then it's got like the wrestlers' names and stuff on each side. So what I decided to do was reach out to one of my friends that I knew did wrestling stuff, and he created a CSZ podcast. Shawn, you can't see it, can you?
No, I can't.
Oh, well, catch the replay. But he did a CSZ podcast one. He did a CSZ one. That's my favorite one. It's 24 karat gold with the outline of the city on it. He did my logo, which is 55. It's pretty nice. And then there was one more. I forgot what it was though. But so he did those. They're pretty nice. If y'all are into wrestling, Preston clearly is not. Let us know, and we can get you a discount code. He actually makes the championships for over 50% less than you can buy them on WWE Shop. And it's 100% legal, as far as I know. I'm sticking with that. James says, "What's up, Card Nation?" Cardon says, "Yo." RG says, "The squad feature." Listen, Preston can come on anytime he wants. I always enjoy talking to him. He's always been a good friend of mine. Welcome to be on every week if he wants to. I'm always looking for somebody to replace Higgy. So it is what it is. Friday's good for Dalton. Friday seems like it's good for everybody. I don't know if it's going to be good for Dalton. He's always got a scheduling conflict with me, but he's a busy man, and I get that. Slinker says, "Money." That was my nickname back in college, was Money. I didn't have any, but that was my nickname. Antron says, "Dalton, that haircut is elite." Did I fire Higgy? No, I didn't fire Higgy. D-Wall Beat says, "Yo," and James said, "Is Shawn Jeremy Jr.?" LOL.
Oh,
I may have to ban you from the chat for even suggesting that there's any similarities between me and the world's oldest virgin. No offense. All right. So new show in daytime. Remember, YouTube. Actually, if y'all are watching on Facebook, we would make more money. Honestly, just put it all out there. We'd make more money if y'all are watching on YouTube. So go to YouTube, sign up. It's quick to sign up. If you don't have a YouTube, sign up, subscribe, help us out tremendously. Hit the like button, yada, yada, yada. It is what it is. All right, let's get into the thick of things. We're going to review the Boston College game first up. The Cardinals win 56-28. Plummer was an amazing 18 of 21 for 388 yards, 5 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing touchdown. Jahar Jordan, 18 rushes, 134 yards with 2 touchdowns. Rushing, 1 touchdown receiving. He had 1 catch, 75 yards for that 1 touchdown. Pretty good average there. When you double team Jamari Thrash, AHB happens. 3 catches, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. And speaking of Mr. Thrash, still killed it. 5 catches, 71 yards, 1 touchdown. Defensively, 5 sacks. That was our season high for sacks. And then we had even 2 more plays where our defensive lineman pushed the O-line into the quarterback, and nobody got credit for those sacks, but it was still a defensive disruption, which is what me and Dalton, me and Steve Rummage has been talking about. The sack numbers aren't very glamorous, but the D line is doing a lot of other things that that count. Everything went really smooth, though. I know people are going to say, but they scored 28 points on us. True. 2 of those touchdowns came during garbage time, though. The first 2 were really huge because the first touchdown cut it to 35-7. The second touchdown cut it to 49-14. So we were really sweating there a little bit. I really feel like if we'd have kept our foot on the gas, we would have dropped 70 on them. But I feel like we didn't. Brown. I mean, after you do a fake kneel, that was awesome. I mean, awesome. And then we ended up scoring on that. There's not much more you can do. I feel like pulling it back, going into the fourth quarter was the right call. I know everybody would love to see us get that 70 burger, but it didn't happen. Preston, I'm going to go to you first. Your thoughts on the game? Where do you? Let's not skip ahead, but where do you see? Where did you see improvement this game from the first 3 games?
Yeah, I think this was a better team effort, especially after seeing how they played against Florida State, Boston College. They can make plays. As we saw, they did make some plays against the defense, but we had such a big lead that you never really felt anxious about it. But I think there were some concerns with some leaks in the coverage and with the linebackers. But I feel that they can shore it up against the NC State, who's not really as explosive as that Boston College team was with that quarterback. So I'm excited. I love the offense. I love how they play. I love that they have the old quarterback out there, willing and dealing. So I think it gives us an advantage this year, having such an old guy who is 24. I mean, it sounds crazy every time I say how old he is. So I'm excited to see how they can go. And I'm just excited that Satterfield isn't calling the plays. You don't know how hard it was for me working for the team and not being able to say, I don't like this guy. I don't think it's right. So I was held hostage for a year. So I'm just so happy to see a Louisville guy running the show and really making plays and doing a great job at it.
Absolutely. Again, we got Preston Brown, Louisville, in my opinion, probably the greatest linebacker of all time in Louisville. Not just saying that. I know a lot of y'all are like, every time I talk to somebody, bring somebody on here, y'all are like, oh, that's just because that's your friend. No, that's my honest opinion. I want to real quick shout out from the Facebook line, Tom Jeffries, what's up? Steve Pollard, Corey B, Brian, Rodney, and then from our chat line here, our Fitness Market chat line, we got Steven who wants to know who was under the devil mask. I don't know. Fred says, what's up, peeps? I'm late, but I'm at work sneaking to see y'all. Brian says, hi, 55, and so on and so forth. And then somebody asked me if I want a Sprite cranberry, and I know who that is. And no, I don't want a Sprite cranberry. But yeah, I'm with you. I think defensively, I'm still not where the team's still not where I want it to be. But I think it's very easily, and I'll talk about that a little bit more here in depth after when we get into the preview of NC State. I think everything that I have issues with is very, very fixable. But yeah, it's nice to have you're right. It's nice to have an offense that you can get excited for and respect. And I'll tell you what, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but remind me, Shawn, it's your job. You don't have a phone today. I've got the dual cam on you, so remind me when we go to preview NC State. I was on the Red White Podcast, which is NC State's top independent podcast that covers NC State, and just kind of like we are for Louisville. And had a very interesting conversation with them. I didn't put that in the shot sheet. I do want to talk about that, though. So remind me. Dalton, I want to ask you something. And we're just going by the BC game overall. What was your analysis of the Boston College game, and what would you give the offense as a grade? I'm going to ask Sam for the defensive grade. You're my offensive guy. What grade would you give the offense? I mean, obviously, I think we all know what that is. And just give us any analysis from the game that you wanted to add.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to look at anything outside of an A+. I mean, scoring on your first 7 drives for the first time since 2007, and that came against a Murray State team. So being able to do it against a conference opponent, I don't care how good you think Boston College is. That's still a conference opponent. So ultimately, very solid performance. I thought Plummer looked extremely comfortable for the most part. You could tell by his lack of hesitation that he's had through the first couple of weeks. The decisiveness was there. He was finding the receivers at the break of their routes and being able to throw the deep ball with consistency and accuracy, something that he's shown that he can do, but he did it very, very well last Saturday afternoon. And, you got to see the receiving core in full force. And then obviously Jawar Jordan is, in my opinion, hard to be looked at outside of a top 5, maybe even top 3 running back in this conference. So overall, hard to really suggest that it's anything lower than an A. It's probably hard to not give an A+.
So I did want to ask you this question, Dalton. We've all been skeptical. We're Louisville football fans. We have been our whole life. Things go good, something goes bad. Yeah. We lose games we shouldn't. We win games we shouldn't. It's the nature of the beast. Is the Plummer that we saw, and I'm going to call him Plummer because I always mess up and call him Jake Plummer, or I mess up his name, whatever. Is the Plummer that we saw versus Boston College, is that the Plummer you anticipate seeing going forward? Or is the one from the first 3 games, is that the real Plummer?
I hope so. I hope that it is. From someone I talked to, someone that's close to the Plummer family, I was told that, he is a guy that has looked better and better throughout the schedule of the season. Even when he was at Cal, looked better and better as the season went along. Ultimately, I think that this could be a turning point in his season. Then again, this next game against NC State we'll talk about, there is a lot of urgency because this is the first true road test, and you're going into a decently hostile environment on a Friday night. So ultimately, TBD. I think that from what we saw of him, I think that the deep ball accuracy is there. The ability to evade pressure and scramble with his legs was sort of a surprising benefit, but I think that we could see more of that. It's just going to be a matter of when that pressure does come and he can't evade it. Can he step up in the pocket, anticipate the pressure coming, and make those throws even when you're going to get hit? That's something that I'm looking forward to seeing. And if he can do that, which he showed he could do that at Cal, then, the ceiling is through the roof for this team, which I'm feeling a lot better after last Saturday.
And that's a great point. My thing is we had Louisville, like Mount Rushmore, the Louisville, one of the Louisville Mount Rushmore quarterbacks, Chris Redman, on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, man, he just doesn't look like he's very decisive, and he's hesitating a whole lot. He's like, give him some time, he'll be okay. I'm like, how can you be so sure? He's like, because and Chris played in the very first game. I can't remember if that was our junior year or senior year, but he played in the very first game at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. And we got blasted by those idiots in blue. And he said, if we would have played them at the end of the year, the result would have been opposite. But he said, it took me a couple games to get used to real gameplay. It's not, and we all of this that are athletes, and Shawn, all know it. Sometimes it takes a little while to get going, and playing against other people is not the same as playing against your own team in practice. So it could be a little bit of that. Who knows? But I appreciate that, Dalton, for your insight on that. Sam, what about you? Analysis of the BC game, and then, but first, what is your defensive grade?
So I was over here just thinking about it, and I've been going back and forth between an A- and a B+. Okay. But I think I'll stick with the A- because I know they gave up 28 points, but the defense was on the field for a long time because we kept scoring, and especially towards the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, they give some of the younger players a lot of reps. So, and they were able to hold them well. So I like that we were up comfortably enough to where you could get your younger guys or some lesser experienced guys some quality competition and snaps. So I think it'll be an A-. The reason why it's not an A+ is I felt like sometimes our linebackers got lost a little bit, and that needs to be short up. But I guess the more time they have in the system, the they'll be able to play with speed and confidence, knowing where they need to be. And one thing scheme wise, I'm not a big fan of is nothing against the young man because he's a great player. I feel like Josh Minkins one on one with a wide receiver or slot isn't the best matchup for Louisville defensively. If he's blitzing or if he's covering a tight end, yes, but he struggles playing the slot, shifty, shorter, faster wide receivers. Because I think he did get a call for a holding penalty close down to the goal line. But that's the only thing scheme wise that I would change is not have him lined up so much against wide receivers. But other than that, it was a great game plan. The young men followed it the best they could and did a really good job keeping Boston College out of the end zone for a really, really long time. But you couldn't do it all game because the quarterback is dynamic. And when you have a running quarterback, it's kind of hard to keep up with them. So they did a really, really good job just holding them to 28 points.
For sure. Uncle Larry in the house, Hunter in the house, Dylan Bickle, our guy up at U of L in the building. Appreciate y'all. Dalton Hunter said, man, Higgy lost some weight and shaved. Oh, never mind. That was Dalton. Is that one of your buddies?
Who is it? I
Hunter,
can't see him.
Hunter L. Smith. Probably just a fan of the show. That he knows I like messing with y'all. He probably is as well. Uncle Larry says, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and Cardinal fans, Cards forever. That's one for me. One of the common misnomers is that this defense is not that good because I feel like, and Shawn, we talked about this the other night, last year, and I don't really like to call it. Sam has no problem with it, but I don't really like to say like the players' names because their mamas watch, their daddies watch, the people watch, and I don't ever want to make them feel any certain type of way. But last year, all you heard about 3 or 4 times a game, Brownlee burnt, Brownlee toast, Brownlee this, that. For the Florida State game, single-handedly was like the second half was the Brownlee show, it sounded like. He has improved exponentially, I feel. And you only hear something. I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 blown defensive coverages the entire season, and I don't maybe only on 1 or 2 of them that the opposing team scored. So what I want everybody to realize, though, again, when we're talking about the quality of this defense, this linebacking core lost Monty Montgomery to the SEC, Yasir Abdullah and Yaya Diaby, who both switch back and forth from line to linebacker from time to time. That's hard to replace, man. That's 2 NFLers and a possible 3rd NFLer. I mean, a lot of people would tell you the SEC is just as good as the NFL.
Don't forget Sonogo.
And then Momo, absolutely. Thank you. I knew I was forgetting somebody that graduated, Momo Sonogo. So that's not easy to replace. And yes, we have young guys. Stanquan Clark is getting some reps. Sam, help me with the other linebackers. That's how
Quinn has been really, really good.
Quinn's been good. So give them some time. I feel like it's another situation where they will get better throughout the year, and they're going to need to get better quick. We won't talk about that game this week, but there's a game coming up next week that we're going to need our linebackers for every single play for. Shawn, you look like you're about to say something.
Well, I was going to say Jalen Alderman's another guy.
Yeah, Jalen Alderman, thank you.
He started last game. He moved into starting.
He was the leading tackler, too, for us last game. So, all right, let's get into it. NC State. Blackout. They're going to black us out again. That's original, and I don't like – I used to think those were cool, but when I realized that our fan base couldn't pull any of them off, I liked them a little bit less. I don't know what the issue is. It's clearly announced before the season, hey, wear a red Louisville shirt. Hey, wear a black shirt. Lee Newton says, greetings from Orlando. Hey, Dalton just left Orlando. I'm heading there in a couple weeks, Lee. I'll be doing my show live from there, so maybe we can link up. Average Honky says, I guess Popeye needs some more time too. I was expecting to see him on the field more. I don't disagree with that. But blackout NC State. Louisville's 8-4 all-time versus NC State. We are 3-2 all-time at NC State. I saw somebody earlier put out we were 3-3. That third loss was a neutral site bowl game 2 weeks after we launched Cardinal Sports Zone. So We averaged 27 points per game versus NC State. We averaged 24 points per game at NC State. They averaged 21 points a game against us, but we allow 24. So it's pretty even as far as, I guess that's why you see the money line of 3. I'm not buying that at all, guys. And I'll give everybody the opportunity to give their thoughts on this. I just watched their secondary get sliced up by Virginia last week. It took me from before the season, I'll be honest, I think a lot of us were like, man, that NC, we're going to lose to Notre Dame. And this was without seeing anything. This is an uneducated guess. It was like, we'll probably lose to Notre Dame, probably lose to Miami, and we may lose to NC State or I'm not, that's a curse word to me, Lexington University. But I don't feel that way at all. To get to my point from earlier, I went on the Red White podcast Monday night with my guy, Evan Roberts, and we were talking, and he was like, what? I forgot how it worked. What do we have to – because all he did was I gushed about our offense. He gushed about our offense. He seemed very deflated. They've got a couple of DBs that are battered, and I don't think they're playing. He's like, what do we got to do to keep it close with you all? And I very, very calmly said, have your whole team forget that y'all are playing at home, drive to Louisville, and it'll be a whole lot closer. Mm-hmm. And he laughed. I laughed. But they're – and as sure as I say this, they're going to play as closely. So it is what it is. It's just my opinion, obviously. But their quarterback, Brennan Armstrong, in 4 games this year has thrown 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He's also their leading rusher with 225 yards on the season. Our defense has been allowing only 114 yards rushing per game. That's I don't even remember the last time it was that low. Obviously, it's 4 games. It's a small sample size. Defensively, I'm still concerned about the midfield tackling and the linebacking core, but the secondary has been real stout this season, I feel. And here's what I want to try to clarify for everybody out there listening, because I called into Marcus and Steve's show the other day and they were talking about how they thought the D-line had been horrible. And I said, look, you got to listen. You got to just think about it. Defensive line success is not all about sacks. Our D-line have been causing turnovers. They've caused quarterback hurries. They have contained rushers, both the running backs and the quarterbacks. Give me all 4 of those every day, all day, over having a ton of sacks. And by the way, we had 5 sacks.
Not only that, they can also eat up blockers to allow the linebackers to run free.
Absolutely. And I think that's probably covered a lot of the deficiency that we've had by the line. So I'm a big fan of the defense. I'm not a big fan of the scheme. I've never been. I like Coach English now. I didn't really care for him when he was here the first time. And I'm afraid he might be watching the show, so I'm going to say I like him. But, yeah, I feel like the defensive line's been efficient at containing the quarterback, containing the run, forced them into a ton of mistakes and a few turnovers. Preston, you're going to lead off again for us. What do you need to see from this game for Louisville to win?
I think the offense really can handle it by themselves. I hate to sound weird about it, but I think the offense can put up so many numbers that it really doesn't matter what the defense does. Like you said, with Armstrong, I think he was the guy from Virginia last year, right?
Yeah.
So I saw him in person. He's all right, but if he's the leading rusher, I don't fear anything else they have going on over there. So if he wants to run, he'll get hit and hit often. So that's going to make his passes more and more inaccurate. So I feel it will lead to tips with Gelati and those guys up front getting their hands up, tips and overthrows. We're going to get those and get those picks, and hopefully Outerman can get a UCF recreation so he can get some tips and overthrows. I feel like we can have some excitement and build some confidence in that defense where they're making plays and really helping the offense hand to hand.
Dalton?
I personally think that this here, let me sink down a little bit.
We gotta get some sponsors on here, man.
You're good. You're good.
Down a little bit.
You're good. You're definitely good. I get it. I think that this game is going to be closer than what people think. I think it's going to be kind of closer to the spread for a couple of different reasons. I do think Louisville wins. I don't think it's an indication of Louisville. I think that it's really hard to get a grasp on what NC State brings to the table because on one hand, they haven't looked good. they've had sort of a cupcake schedule outside of Notre Dame, and they just flat out, honestly, just have not looked good. But they've got the personnel that have done it before. Robert Anaya is one of the better offensive minds in the conference. He's been a guy that tore up the previous coaching staff's defense multiple times when they played. Granted, new style. Brennan Armstrong, same thing. The thing that worries me, and it could go really good or it can go really bad, is that this is the first true road game of the season, not at an NFL stadium. I understand that Louisville is the better team, but it feels like every year, no matter who the coach is, since Louisville's joined the ACC, there's been a game to where Louisville has dropped one that they just shouldn't have. And I feel like all off season, that was this game. Granted, I feel better about it than I did the week before and the week before that. I do think Louisville wins this game versus them losing this game now. But I feel like we are discounting how tough it can be to win on the road in prime time, especially on a Friday night. Say what you want about the blackout, but they've been promoting this, something that fans have been kind of itching for the athletics department to do. And we'll see how that works. But I trust Brom and staff to not overlook this game, and I'm ready to see how the guys come out. I think the Cards win.
Absolutely. And I want to be clear about this. When I was on the Red White podcast, they were just as down on NC State as I was. It wasn't me just trying to clown them. They were like, we're just not good. Like they barely beat UConn. That's how good they felt like they were. They are having Dwayne from Facebook says it's a blackout with their glow-in-the-dark uniforms. We're going to have a glow-in-the-dark uniform game later in the year. I forgot who it is against. We're going to have one of those as well because Adidas does this. They're not original anymore. They do the same thing for all the schools. So if you're an Adidas school, you'll have a glow-in-the-dark game this year. But let's see, Hunter Smith says my worry is that NC State is going to be sky high and give us their best shot. We will have to be a couple of touchdowns better than them just to win by 3. Hunter, I have never in my life disagreed with anybody more than I do you right now. Steven says I love Plummer's deep passing. I think he's going to have to get better in the middle to the short passing game, feed the studs. I feel like he got better last game. And how crazy is it? This is really the only away game for Louisville this year that is not at an NFL stadium. I believe that's true. Is that not true? They play at Hard Rock. They play at the Dolphin Stadium. They play at Heinz Field for the Pittsburgh game. Then we played at Lucas Oil for Indiana and at Mercedes for the opening game. So I think I could be wrong, but I believe this is the only true road game. I don't like I'm a Steelers fan. Y'all know that. Even the people in Pittsburgh aren't Pittsburgh Panther fans, really. So it is what it is. Uncle Larry says, in a close game, do you guys trust Jeff Brom's clock management? Absolutely. And that's not something I can say a whole lot with other regimes. Even Bobby, to a point, was not that I can remember. Wasn't he the coach for the Auburn game?
Yeah, you mean the one in 2015?
Yeah. There's some questionable clock management. Now, again, I give Bobby a pass for his second time around because he was dealing with the stuff with his dad. And again, I've said this a million times. Y'all probably tired of me saying it. I just lost my dad last year. That has affected me. Not more than I thought it would, but now I can see why Bobby may have not been focused. So I give him a pass. But yes, I do trust him with clock management. Cool Guy Don says, yo, what's up, guys? Cards by 17, Robert says. I disagree with you. OVW doing it up right tonight. We'll talk about OVW here in a little bit for a second. And AH, I'm not going to call him honky because it makes me laugh every time. AH says this isn't the NC State defense of old. And I agree with you right there. Again, I know why. Look, I'm that guy normally. We're playing away. It's a gimmick game. Gosh, they're going to be playing so hard, but they're not as good. As Evan said, they're not as good as they thought they were going into the season, and we're a lot better than they thought we would be. Sam, what about you? What do you got for this game?
Was it Carter Finley Stadium?
Good old Carter Finley in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina.
I'll agree with Dalton when he says early in the year, this is one of those games where Louisville might win, Louisville might lose, but you could see it going either way.
Sure.
But
I said that too, Sam.
But I do think Louisville wins this game. I think it will be closer than most people predict.
Sure.
And is the reason why I say that is because I know NC State's offense is anemic, to say the least. But it's something about, and Preston Brown could attest to this. When you have a defensive DNA, it's there, whether it shows up immediately or shows up later on. And they've been so good defensively for years. They might just be off to a slow start this year, and it would be just our luck that they would turn it around, starting with us, because we've all known how great their defense has been. They still do have a really good front seven, but I do think we can take advantage of their secondary if we are given the time to for Plummer to get the ball downfield. I think this is one of the games where we're going to need our tight ends more than we've used them before coming up to this game, because they're going to key on Thrash and AHB and of course Jordan and Maurice Turner and Garendo. Did I pronounce it right, Dalton?
Yeah, you got them all right.
Cool. So they're going to key on those things, and I think it's going to leave the space and opportunity for our tight ends to have more production than they've had in leading up to this game. But I do think Louisville wins. I think I know it's going to be a raucous environment, but I think our players are up for it. Some of them have been here before, and they have experience. So I do look forward to Louisville going undefeated heading into the Notre Dame game.
And let's go ahead, because you brought something up, and I was going to say something earlier, and I just flat out forgot it. Double team Jamari Thrash and Amari Huggins-Bruce will get loose. Try to double team them both. Coleman's going to get loose. Like, we have so many. Chris Bell. We've got so many weapons offensively. You can't double team them all, or Plummer will just take off running, or Jordan will. And the offensive, I want to say this, because a lot of time the offensive line doesn't get the credit at any level. Our offensive line has been fantastic so far this year. Now, there have been times you got your people out there, your cynics, the people that get on the message boards and complain about every single thing, or we even have a private group chat where there's a couple people that nothing can ever go right. There's always something wrong. And to them, I say, like, you're not going to get a 100% perfect game from your offensive line every game. This offensive line has given Plummer maybe the reason why he's gotten more confident. He was 18 for 21, and I believe the first two incompletions came back to back. It was a throwaway to avoid a sack, and the very next play, or the play before, the receiver just dropped the ball. And then I forgot the one in garbage time. I won't even pretend to remember that one. You can't double more than one guy per play unless you know the play call, says Cole Guy Don. Absolutely. They've got one wide receiver with more than 200 yards. Granted, we don't run into second coming of Zay. We'll walk out with – and that's their freshman, Concepcion. Tremendous talent. I like our guys against their guys. And
yes.
Then Cole Guy Don says 30-24 is his prediction. And we'll ask for y'all's predictions score-wise here in a minute. Shawn, I think everything's been said, but I'll go ahead and give you the floor for a second. Tell us what you kind of see happen in this game.
Well, I think our offensive line.
And that's your second. So let's I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Shawn.
The offensive line is going to dominate, I think. I don't like NC State's defense, especially with Virginia moving the ball on them. And they've been, if you want to talk anemic, that's a team that's anemic offensively.
That is true.
Defensively, the only thing I'm worried about is communication, because there was a couple of communication breakdowns last game that led to big games. Like, guys, that's the only thing I don't like about the defense sometimes is they drop in that zone and it's not an active zone, to kind of stand there flat-footed. It's like, no, you got to be open, ready. Be ready to attack the ball because you're looking at the quarterback. He can read his eyes. It's like our guys don't read his eyes sometimes. But that's the thing that worries me is because I don't want to play too much zone against Brennan Armstrong because what did he carve up against Louisville when he was at Virginia? We were playing zone a lot, and he just picked us apart. So I would rather attack him.
I think he also had a 6'3", 6'4" receiver too, though.
That's true. He could throw it up, but he was picking us apart. Though I remember he'd just throw it right over the middle. Nobody was there, and it'd just be 14-yard gain, 12-yard gain every time. It's like you got to attack him. Stop playing back. I think Jeff Brom and Ron English are gonna attack a little bit more. I got a feeling we're gonna blitz a tad bit more.
All right. Well, let's get to me. So I feel like we're finally going to figure out the NC State conundrum. We've had some issues with them the last couple of times we've been up there. They beat us by 2 touchdowns both times, I believe. We're going to slice up this battered secondary. Plummer proves that he is last week's Plummer from this point forward. He's the one we'll get going forward, and our offense is going to get silly from now on. I feel this is not even going to be an issue for me. It's 41-24 Louisville. You'll see your first surrender Cobra sometime at the end of the first half, and by the middle of the fourth quarter, they're going to pan to their version of Higgy dipping his hot dog and his nachos out in the crowd, and the crowd will be leaving in droves. 41-24. Shawn, what's your score prediction?
I'm going to go 35-17.
Okay. Still pretty big. Yeah. Sam, 30-29. Is that your pick? Or is that Dalton?
30-24.
Okay. 30-24. Dalton?
31-28.
I hate you so much. Preston?
This price is right.
38-21.
Okay. So the guys that actually played D1 football and Shawn predicted to be big, and the ones that had played PlayStation football thinking it's going to be close. Gotcha. I have to look, Sam, I don't ever joke on you, so if I don't throw one in there every once in a while, they think it's favoritism. It is what it is. All right, let's head to the rapid fire segment real quick. First off, again, we are here with Preston Brown, Shawn Barber, Dalton Pence, Sam Baisden, and your boy Jeremy Wyman. And we're here with the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast coming to you live for our last Thursday show starting next week. We will be on Fridays at 7 p.m. And I believe there's one game where that will conflict the rest of I believe it's the Virginia game. It may be on a Thursday. We'll come to you live from the Virginia tailgate that game, just like we're going to with the Notre Dame tailgate is going to be off the chain. I've got a couple of guests lined up. Preston, if you're in town, come to the tailgate. We'll do like we did the last time. It'll be a great time. Some big news coming out. The Notre Dame game has officially sold out. Dalton, can you explain that to me? Because it said it was a sellout, but then you can get on Ticketmaster and you can still get the game. Does that mean those tickets have already been sold and they're now being resold? Is that why it's a sellout, but it's not? Nope. What's that one show where you got the guy that he doesn't say anything? You know who I'm talking about, don't you? I can't remember. Oh, Home Improvement. You got the guy across. No, it's not Home Improvement.
It's not Home Improvement. He never shows his face.
Okay, that's right. Anyway, so sold out. Secondly, he announced today on a social media, the one and only Jerry Smith is retiring from basketball as of today after a stellar, decade career, probably overseas. Really, very, very happy for him. He was able to make a really good living, and he's set for the rest of his life. And again, it couldn't happen to a better person. Me and Jerry have been good buddies for a long time. And when he was playing at Louisville, my nephew, I call him my nephew because he grew up next door, Terrence Farley, he was on the teams with Jerry, and me and Jerry's dad and mom sat together, and just some of the best people. So I'm very happy for him, happy for his family. And, man, I can't wait to see what he's going to be up to next. Last but not least, before I get into the Louisville Cardinal portion of Rapid Fire, please check out, if you're not Preston Brown and you are a wrestling fan, go to Ringside Podcast on Twitter at Ringside Podcast. YouTube, it's at Ringside Podcast. We just did a interview Tuesday night with the star of the new Netflix smash hit Wrestlers, which is based here in Louisville, Kentucky, at Ohio Valley Wrestling, which is another reason why we're moving the show to Friday nights, because I may be doing some stuff with them going forward. But because I like wrestling, Preston don't like wrestling. Let's make sure we got that straight. But with the star of the show, one of the stars of the show, because nobody can deny that Al Snow is one of the stars of the show, Hollywood Haley J. She is actually they follow her around during the series, and you see her kind of mature. You see her grow up kind of in front of your eyes during that series. Totally different person now than she was during then. She's got a WWE tryout coming up. Very proud of her. Had a great time interviewing her. The most watched interview of all time for that particular show. And we've had Big E on the show. We've had Bobby Lashley on the show. We've had, who else, Shawn? Rhea Ripley was on the show. Who else? Come on.
I'm blanking, man.
Grayson Waller. A whole bunch of people.
God.
You know Shawn folds under pressure. Why would you ask
I
him?
know. Shawn, a lot of things Shawn folds under pressure.
That's why I would not be a good quarterback.
Shawn, you're barely a decent water boy for us, but we appreciate you anyway. Let's go around the town real quick. Number 5, volleyball picked up an ACC road victory over Notre Dame in a sweep. They face NC State Sunday at 4 p.m. on the ACC network. Libero Elena Scott was named the ACC Volleyball Defensive Player of the Week for the second time this year. And as y'all know, Higgy does the rapid fire. That's the only thing he does for the website, the radio show. He doesn't do anything else. He barely texts me back. Look, talk about people's parents watching the show. Hi, Miss Kelly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, one of the reasons I'm not worried about NC State is because her son is back there swatting balls down like it ain't nothing. So if there's any, I always read them out. If there's any errors, I read them out the way he types them. So far, it's looking good, though. It's looking good, Higgy. Number 5 field hockey defeated Miami of Ohio 2-0 on Tuesday. The Cardinals return home to face number 7 Virginia Tech at 3 p.m. Don't say what day. Just at 3 p.m. Just check your calendars. One day this week, they'll be there at 3.
Come on, Higgy.
You'll be able to catch it. Look, the ACC is the only field hockey league that every single team is ranked in the top 20. Not just ranked, they're all ranked in the top 20. So that will, no doubt, if you've got some time, get out there, get you a ticket, watch that field hockey team.
Take off the whole week and just go there each day and wait and see.
Yeah, we don't know which day, though.
It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow, Friday
tomorrow.
the 29th.
Thank you.
3 p.m.
Thank you, not Higgy. I appreciate that. Number 10 men's soccer forward Damian Barker John was named the ACC Co-Offensive Player of the Week, which was announced by the league on Tuesday. Cards are on the road against Virginia Friday night at 7 p.m. on ACC Extra. What happened was I gave him too much credit because I read the first paragraph. There were no typos. Then he bit me in the butt in the second paragraph.
Literally.
No, he didn't literally bite my butt, Sam. Men's golf, Sebastian Moss became the first player in University of Louisville history to win back-to-back tournaments as he took home the medalist honors at the Rod Myers Invitational on Monday. The men's golf team's another one that's been on the rise. I know a lot of us don't get to go out and watch it. It's not on TV. Not going to pretend to be a diehard men's golf fan, but get out and watch them if you can. I can tell you just by doing these rapid fires every week for the last 5 years, they're on the come up. Check them out if you can. Swimming and diving, they start this weekend. They host Xavier. Again, not sure which day. Women's soccer will travel to Notre Dame to face the Irish Saturday at 7 p.m. And as always, make sure you support CardinalSportsZone.com. Check out the photo galleries. Jeff Nunn's photo galleries have been doing like 80,000 views per day this week. He's one of the best. I don't like to slight anybody else because there are a lot of good photographers here that cover the University of Louisville. You got Tara Smith that does it for the University of Louisville officially. You've got who's the one that does it for the Crunch Zone.
I can't think of his name.
Think about it because he's
William Caldwell.
Yeah, William Cardinal. Yeah. Great. I'm sorry. Look, not remembering names has been a side effect of my surgeries and stuff. My memory has been like Boston College defense trash. So I apologize. Jared Anderson, I think he does photography for the state of Louisville and those guys. So, and I'll ask that question in a second, Quentin. Great question. But check them out because they do take real good pictures, and you'll see it. The athletes all take Jeff's pictures and they shoot them out on their Instagrams and stuff every week, or TJ's pictures when he does basketball, or JK when he does baseball. So support us. We want to shout out really quick all of our fine sponsors: Four Pegs, Fitness Market, and the Collision Course Crew Tailgate. Shout out to those. All those fine people. We did get a mobile hotspot for the show next week, so we won't be having the connectivity issues we had the prior tailgate. So we're all set. We're all set and ready to go. Should I just pretend like I'm talking in this mic so it looks official? Who is that jumping in? Oh no, is it Higgy? I'm not letting you in if it's Higgy. No, it's deep. Oh, Dalton. Wait a minute. What are you doing, Dalton? I'm not putting you on two.
So I did not realize my computer is at like 2%. So go ahead and add that one in.
Okay. I can't stand him.
Find a charger, buddy.
There we go. We'll get everything. Look, we're trying to wrap this up, pal. No, I appreciate it. You letting me know that. All right. Fitness Market, Four Peg Smokehouse, and the Collision Course.
Oh, you got to take the other one off.
I did.
No, I think
Dalton.
Dude, this is trippy.
Yeah, I did turn the other one. The other one's gone.
There we go.
Oh, Dalton had to turn the other one off.
Yeah.
Well, Dalton, you're making this look like a second-rate program here. Just kidding. Make sure you get out. Speaking of the Collision Course Crew tailgate, make sure you get out to all the home tailgates and see them in action. They serve up a good time, and they don't ask for anything in return, but donations are appreciated. Don't be a chooch and just dine and dash like some people do. I said chooch.
No, I'm hearing
Higgy.
Yeah, well, not Higgy. It's other people, but we won't.
Higgy, let's be real. Higgy ain't dashing nowhere, okay?
Oh wow, that's hard. That's hurtful. That's hurtful.
Why would you say that, man?
We have guests here, Sam. If you want to sponsor the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, just hit me up at Jeremy_CSZ. Or any of the guys here. They'll help you out, pointing you in the right direction. On social media, you can find underneath Shawn, where you can find us on social media. Underneath Preston is where you can go. I'm not holding that anymore. To support the podcast monetarily, we appreciate anything you do. And as I said earlier, if y'all are watching us on Facebook, switch over to YouTube. That helps us out a whole lot more than Facebook does. And we appreciate it. As far as the podcast is concerned, you can find the podcast on all the podcast avenues: Apple, iTunes, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google, Amazon, iHeart, over 125 in all. Hit subscribe, follow, stalk, whatever you have to do. I don't know. They all have different things. Like them, whatever, and you'll be able to get the downloads automatically to your phone or wherever you listen to podcasts at. If you haven't listened to all the prior episodes of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, it's cool. Go back and check them out. CardinalSportsZone.com. Hit the podcast drop-down menu. Go to the CSZ Podcast or Live with 55. Those are still there. CSZ on 93.9. Those are not there anymore. I still need to take those off. But, yeah, check them out at CardinalSportsZone.com, the place it all began. Shout out to everybody who's out there sharing the podcast. We appreciate and love you all. And as always, I have to give my weekly shout-out to my guys, Marcus Maben and Steve Rummage, doing the Lord's work Monday through Friday from 10 to noon on ESPN 93.9 The Ville. Let's go to the chat line really quick so we can finish this up and get Preston out of here. Cool Guy Don says, smash that like button. He also wants to know, Preston, what can our let's click on that. What can our linebackers improve on to go to the next level? And what's the rest of that? I can't see it.
Which linebackers
stick out the most to you and why?
Yeah, to go to the next level, since I left, I don't think only Burgess and Keith Kelsey were the only people who really went to the league and played, and hasn't really been a linebacker since then who really take that step. And looking at this group, I hate talking about, kids in a negative way, but I don't see the NFL look right now. But I mean, I watched my sophomore tape yesterday just to see. If I saw it, I didn't see it in me either. So I know that they can grow and make those plays to be a certain way, but They're both from the same city. About Austin down here in Georgia. They're about 230, but they just don't run like they're 230. They run like they're 260, in my opinion. A lot of guys seem to get behind them in the run where I feel they could have made some tackles versus Indiana and other people throughout the season. So I think Alderman stands out the most just because he does make the most plays. A couple years ago with the pick six and then getting fumble recoveries, I think the ball finds him more. But NFL guys, I don't – D-line, yeah, NFL guys, but I don't see it right now in those linebackers.
There you go. Michael Price says 31-21 Cards. Quentin McCauley wants to know, Preston, how do you compare Louisville football today versus 2013?
Oh, we blow this team out by a lot. Like, it's not even close. You know, not to be disrespectful to what those guys have going on now. I think they're on the rise. But we're knocking out Plummer. I mean, we're not letting no 24-year-old do anything against us. I mean, we were the number one defense in the world, number one over Michigan State. So I think they will have a tough time. Then you got to stop Teddy B and Devontae and everybody else on offense. I think Brownlee will have a tough time with Devontae or Damian Copeland over the top. We got Sonoris Perry running through guys who runs a 4-3. It'll be a tough day for those guys. So I don't think they will want those problems, but I think they are doing great. But I'm still mad about October 18th, 2013, because we should have been the only undefeated team. But we weren't, so I still think we beat them by at least 20-something.
Was that the UCF
game?
Yeah, I'm getting nightmares thinking about it.
And you had Calvin Pryor. Don't forget Calvin Pryor, too.
Yeah, Calvin Pryor, Marcus Smith. I got Calvin right there. So, you know, we had guys who went to the league and made plays, and they got a lot of guys who are just going to be, no offense, you know, coaches, real estate agents, Geico salesmen, whatever it is. They just got a bunch of guys.
Preston, they watch my
friendly fire.
I mean, hopefully they see it and be like, F what he's talking about. I'm going to be better than anybody on that team instead of, because if they think that I'm talking trash and they can't handle it, then they're going to be out of school. They didn't get a job.
So
I said earlier, hold on,
Sam.
Right? Hold on, Sam. I did say earlier this was not the last Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, but after that, it very well may be the last one. We love all y'all. We appreciate your support, and we're gonna go sell Geico and stuff like that too, because we can't make it in the NFL either. Go ahead, Sam.
So this was your bulletin board to serve as motivation, right?
I hope so, but I'm just keeping it 100% honest. We would beat them by at least 20-something. Teddy B would have 300-something yards, and that quarterback wouldn't do anything against us. I'm sorry. We will have a scheme because Coach Bedford and get on the train. It would just be a long night for those guys.
Oh my God.
That defense was something, though.
It really was. Whenever really quick, and I don't want to get into a whole new conversation, but whenever you talk about the best Louisville defenses of all time, yours is right up there, and I don't have any problem admitting that. And that's probably the standard of what we most of us who are old enough, we compared great defenses to y'all's defense. So that is man, quite the last. I didn't even ask him for his last words yet. Thanks, Quentin, for setting me up like that. Really appreciate you, bro. My last words I'll go first since I'll let y'all go first on everything else. Really quick, a collision course crew tailgate. We're going to have a couple of former Cardinal greats that may or may not have had a little something to do with the last time we defeated Notre Dame. We're going to have a viral superstar on the show, and Shawn. Sadly, Shawn. But it's going to be a good time. Also, we kind of talked about this. I alluded to it. Not this week, but next week. This is why I say go to YouTube, because hit the notifications. You'll find out. We're going to be releasing next week an in-depth interview with the one and only men's college basketball assistant coach for Louisville, Nolan Smith. I've got a bunch of questions from you on. I plan to ask every single one of them. So stay tuned for that. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to include that it's going to be hard to put it in the Notre Dame show. So it may just be a bonus episode, or we'll just talk around it like we always do. It is what it is. And shout out to our guy, Master Yoda, who gave us an awesome live outro last week. It was much appreciated. Shawn, your last words. Shawn in the murking, I just don't get it. This is probably why you're not very popular with females, but it is what it is. Sam, what about you? Your last words?
So go Cards, beat NC State. But I kind of have a question for Preston though.
Okay, fair enough.
I kind of don't want to ask it anymore, but I'm gonna ask it anyway because I already heard what you had to say about Satterfield.
Oh yeah.
So not that you're done coaching. I mean, say coaching. Not that you're done playing. Is coaching in your future at all? You think?
I actually tried to be a coach. I was a strength coach intern up at Ohio State, and I only lasted 5 weeks. Like it's not for me. I don't have all that in me to be there all day and not really help in any way. All I was doing was saying, good job, good set, next rep. Like it was kind of boring. But maybe a position coach where you have some say and really can help mold and shape guys into being better people and players. That's something I would be excited to do. But I just don't have the time to be mad each week if we lost, because it just consumes my whole life, wins and losses. And I just enjoy the freedom right now of not being mad if anybody loses or wins and just having a normal life, because it's just a depressing time to lose. For me, to lose, it's everything to lose. And I'm not ready to get involved in that. I recently tried to stop cussing, and that would just bring it all out because I know I can't. I can't do it.
So since you mentioned position coach, if you had three choices to come be a position coach under Coach Brum at Louisville, wherever a position coach under Coach Strong, since you played for him, obviously Coach Brum because you played at Louisville, or Coach Satterfield because you're from Cincinnati. Which one would you pick?
Right now, it would probably be funny just to go to Cincinnati and be like a secret spy, just trying to make them lose, acting like I'm trying to help.
Preston, they don't need no help losing, brother. They don't need any help losing.
Because I now know the shrimp coach because he was at Ohio State when I was there, Nico, so he's their head shrimp coach. So I know they have a lot of good guys trying to mold it. But Satterfield, I just personally, if I was on the team when he was the coach, I probably would have fought him 100%. Really would have had to put him in a headlock because I see the way. I just felt he didn't care about the kids, and it was just so frustrating to be a part of it, be on the team playing, be behind the scenes and see what he was doing. And then you see the way the defense and the offense performed, the play calls, the clock management. It's like, do you really understand football? And as a former player, it frustrated the heck out of me dealing with such great guys with Coach Strong, Coach Bedford, Coach Carter, coming from Florida under that Urban Meyer tree where they just knew so much. Coach Bedford was in the league for years, and he would quiz us in the hallway about this play, that play. So we just had such a great understanding of football from those guys that seeing what they were doing, they were shortchanging a lot of those kids who could have went on to be professional players, but they just never got the coaching or what they needed, because I saw a lot of talent out there, but you see those guys from his ranks. I mean, they just didn't really blow like they could have. How Petrino and those guys, they're in the NFL still making plays. Coach Strong guys are still making plays in the NFL. So you see those guys, and you see Satterfield, he's just more of a, wherever he's from the mountains, he's just a mountain man to me that shouldn't have never been in the position that he was. And the fact that he left and went to Cincinnati was just so – I don't know how happy I was to see that happen. Like, it was the best day of my life to see them have to deal with that. And I still follow all the Cincinnati media guys, on Twitter, and I see how they talk about Satterfield, and it lights my soul up. It's exciting me because we finally have a Louisville guy handling – because I know the UK game and all those rivalry games, he didn't put the effort in. It frustrated me so much to see where our tradition was going, all this stuff. They're just holding the L up on the sideline when they do kickoffs. It was just corny to me from top to bottom, corny. And I did not like anybody besides Coach Ivey. That's why I'm glad that Coach Ivey is still here, because everybody else on that staff, I just had disinterest for.
My fault, man. I didn't mean to send you down the rabbit hole. I didn't know.
No, you cool. I love to talk about it. I'm happy I could finally say it, because I was stuck under the sideline reported guidelines where you're going to say, well, I think we could do better this week. I don't think we were going to do better, but I had to keep lying, and it was breaking my heart not to tell everybody in Louisville, in the world, that he's not the guy. And if you ever want to win a big game, he's not going to do it. He's going to call some silly nonsense that makes no sense. And then we're all going to be disappointed when we know we have talent all around the board. So I love talking about Satterfield. He's my favorite subject, and I love to see what they're doing in Cincinnati.
Listen, we're not going to have to look far for content for the Instagram Reels. We've got it right there. Thanks, Sam. And Quentin, by the way, thanks both of y'all. Listen, like you said, the prior coach was putting guys into the NFL, and Satterfield's putting guys in Skyline and Gold Star. So
a lot of real estate agents. That's what we're doing now. And you got a lot of guys who could have made career-changing money, life-changing money, and now they're, doing workout videos trying to get into one of these smaller leagues when they really could have made a life. And it's sad to see. And that's why I'm glad we have a guy who loves the city, loves the program, and loves those kids, and is going to do his best for them.
Absolutely. And you're right. He gets the rivalry thing that mid-major Scott did not. Dalton has left the building, so we will not get his last words. You know what? That's probably an omen. We just probably need to get on out of here. Preston, thanks again for coming on. We appreciate you. Appreciate your support. Anytime you want to come on to talk about Satterfield or anything else, You're welcome every single week, brother. We love you. We appreciate you. Guys, thanks again for all the support. Everybody watching, tuning in, whether it's live on the stream. And I know Shawn's face could deter you from the live part. We apologize for his face. But those that are listening, we appreciate y'all for y'all support, for subscribing to the podcast and getting them listened to and giving us some feedback. So until next time, this has been the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast. We'll see y'all.
And y'all thought I was rough on Satterfield.
I did think you were rough, and I think it was worth it. Come on. Okay. Wait a minute. Where are we at? We back?